And I did, and I saw that search, and that's inappropriate for the workplace.
Like,
yes, that's a laugh of a guilty man.
we haven't seen Jordan Brooks or Anthony Walker in a few days. Are they injured, and do you expect them to miss some time?
Both dealing with something different, but they're on their way back when that is. I'm not going to hurt their timetable by boldly stating, but it's not something I'm worried about. And that's a very competitive group. So as they've been working their way back, there's some invaluable reps for the rest of the crew. So it's been good, and they'll be back sooner than later.
What about Jordan Boyer? Same question he's dismissed a few.
Yeah, dealing with something as well, but he's been very active, and the safeties have stepped up in his absence. We will see him again.
Two leaders of this team, Tua and Tyreek, got financial paydays over the past couple weeks. What kind of message, or how do you think that resonates down to the rest of the team in the locker room to see, their high-end guys, the top guys, get paid like that?
Well, I was thrown off by your question originally because I heard two liters, as in like quantity of liquid. So yeah, no. But now that I've the rest of the context, liters, I think that it's a cool part of the process. I think the team appreciates some of the best players we have on our team, and really want them here. So when contracts are agreed upon, you have a little more stability and a little more known. So that's exciting. But I think the team has really responded to how the aforementioned players have responded to those types of things in terms of understanding that that as much as that is it's an accomplishment in itself, the bigger goals and where they want their careers to be, what they want their careers to be known for is through the team. And I've seen even more investment into the team by all the players that have had new contracts, and I think that goes a long way.
And I guess just to kind of branch off of what you said, you've been around a few guys who have received big paydays. What is the commonality in like the next step forward that creates success for both them and the team?
No, I think that that's what's been exciting from the team standpoint. I think that's what the team is excited about is you do have one or two directions. It's generally not same as. You have the negative way, which we're not experiencing, or you have players respond to that investment with really the what comes along with that in terms of the devotion to the team. Quite frankly, if you're a big piece of the salary cap and you're trying to be a good team, that piece should be spent wisely. And there's different leadership things that you're capable of doing that I've really seen guys seize the moment and step up their investment so that they can be the reason why we you want to be a reason why you win, not win in spite of someone. So I think that it's been really exciting to watch our team develop as there's been a lot of individual talk. There's probably been more individual talk than years past, and the reaction has been more team investment and more self-sacrifice really across the board by this team. So that's been exciting.
Last year we heard a lot about Ramsey's involvement with the team as an injured player. I'm curious if you can describe the impact he's had as a player on the field during training camp.
Okay, I said a lot of very nice things about because it was very. I've never seen, or I hadn't seen up to that point, a player involve himself as much as Ramsey did while he was hurt. That being said, he's more impactful when he's not hurt. And I think he's comfortable with me saying that. I've challenged a lot of guys, and there's been kind of a theme where, the first step is expressing what you want or talking, but the most important step that really makes honest words of your proclamations are your actions. So, Jalen's both put it upon himself to verbally set the tonality and then follow through with. Every day he makes. He's on a heater right now. Probably the last 5 practices, he's done something that I hadn't seen a player at his position do. So that is probably the most important thing is your actions and the way you're trying to contribute to the team. Jalen knows that he can have as big of impact as anyone on the team. With the type of player he is, he's taken that extremely serious and has been a very intense participator in training camp practices.
One more contract question, if I could. Javon seems like the only one of that big group you had a year or two ago that were coming towards needing an extension. Has there been progress with him? Is Javon someone who's part of your long-term plans?
I love Javon. Javon's been working on his game like he always does, but he's having a really good camp and really taken to the scheme. That's where my expertise lies, which is why, fortunately for me, I chose coaching as a career path. I did not, jump alongside Chris Greer in the front office portion of football for a reason. I'll let him go through that process. He's a invaluable member to the Dolphins, and I'm excited to see him progress today. And then beyond that, in terms of timetables and conversations, man, that dude is working all the time. And I know it's on his plate where that is. I try to focus my attention on the stuff that he's depending on me to focus.
What might we notice, because we won't talk to you before tomorrow during practice, what might we notice about the way you and Raheem have decided to structure things and what you'd like to accomplish in the 2 joint practices?
I think you're going to see a couple teams that are really excited to play against someone else. We are at that time, okay, of training camp where it is tough sledding in terms of you've used all of your moves and your counters, so it'll be a breath of fresh air, I think, in regards to Raheem Morris, one of my favorite coaches I've ever worked with, very impactful one for me because of his defensive prowess, and was able to work with him on the offensive side of the ball as well. Was in both Washington and Atlanta with him, so we go way back. I think in joint practices where you have extensive working history with the other head coach, I think it's a little bit easier in terms of the flow of practice. There's more similarities to the flow of practice to your normal practice because of just our paths and what we believe in, and I think you're going to see 2 hungry teams trying to establish who they are and practicing while being able to protect each other. It should be pretty intense. It'll be a fun one. So I'm excited to see Raheem and all the new bells and whistles that he has schematically, and it should be a good challenge.
Tua talked about his relationship and given a lot of credit to Tua and Bevell. Can you talk a little bit what you've seen behind the scenes with that relationship after they've had now a couple years together and all the credit that goes into building that relationship?
Well, there's not many relationships more important to the Miami Dolphins and the fan base than that of Tua and Coach Bevell, really, because it's the ultimate trust that you have to build on a daily basis and that you have to maintain on a daily basis. And when at that position, I think the work that they've done together, I would attribute to the continued progression of Tua's game directly correlates to their work and how and case in point, you feel like you almost see a newer, more glistening version of Tua every single time we step out to a new phase, whether that be a phase 2 or a training camp. Every year that's been the case. So I think that is a connective relationship that's very important. That there's only one way to really establish a relationship like that, and that's pure investment on both sides. And I'm very proud at how they continue to attack, with pride, to his game and Coach Bevell's ownership in his game, and I'm happy that they get to hang out every day, and I think Coach Bevell's sense of humor's really helped develop Tua's sense of humor. That's a behind the scenes thing. He's got a lot of jokes. Oh, he does. Maybe next time you guys talk to him, ask Coach Bevell to tell you some jokes. Low key hilarious.
Is there something, sort of a question of left field a little, that do you appreciate in your third year as a NFL head coach about the job that you didn't know, or that stands out that you didn't know coming into it?
I've talked about the understanding the servitude and I've really got a sense in year 3. You have a more supreme humility to the job, from my perspective, in terms of you get the job and everything. You're always working around how everything's orchestrated. You're adjusting to the different needs of the job, to the different people that you affect. But then, you still have that. I don't know, ambition or naive. You're a little naive enough to think that you can do more on your own than I think you're really capable of. I think I have a strong sense of truly how dependent I am on all of the people in the building for the building to move in one direction. I think the relationship aspect and how people bond, I have a firmer appreciation for, and overall, it is very, very humbling, just because at this point in my life, I almost can do nothing by myself, almost nothing. I still can work a microwave, and I can fill my car tank up with gas, but outside of that, I need a lot of help for everything I do.
You spoke a little bit about it with the joint practices, but kind of talk a little bit more about how important these are to the team's development as we get closer to the first preseason game.
Well, I think you start. It's an opportunity to start defining who you are in concrete as a team. Some of the things that how you handle adversity, the standard with which you play football and practice football, and they really come into focus when you get that first opportunity to practice against someone. This practice week, every year we've had the opportunity to cross train against another opponent, and I think the preseason games and practice have their own areas of extreme importance for younger guys. The game and the things that come with going into NFL Stadium and your assignments and hearing calls and being able to execute your techniques and fundamentals like you do in practice, there's a stronger importance on those games. For veteran guys, practice can be as the best dress rehearsal. Inter-squad practices can be the best dress rehearsal for games because you have the most true scheme, that you're really executing. That you may not unfold to the rest of the league when you do preseason games. You have a little more. There's just more football from a schematic standpoint that are closer along the lines to the regular season, and I think that's not being able to tackle allows for people to play at a speed where they can let it go, and it's more closely associated to NFL game speed. Those types of things you can't replicate in the preseason necessarily, and some guys aren't even playing in those because of the tackle portion of it, and so we get a lot of value out of it. I'm looking forward to this particular joint practice because this particular team seems thirsty to define themselves, and it gives them an opportunity to, within the locker room. So it should be real fun, and we'll probably wish it was hotter.
Housekeeping thing, to close the loop on Tua and his contract, you had told us you weren't going to get involved in it. The way Tua tells the story, you went to somebody, management, and said, we've got to get this done. What was it about that moment? Is that accurate? And what was it about that moment that made you?
I think there's a consistency and uniformity from our organization when you're talking about entering into and progressing through contracts of that magnitude. So, I think people know that I've stated very clearly from the onset my belief in the player, and I think that belief was held supremely through the organization, and I think it was probably a little glorified, so to speak, in terms of me kicking a door down or anything. I think anytime I was asked, and through the whole process from the beginning, middle, and end, everybody from Chris to Steve to Brandon Shore to Tom Garfinkel knew where I stood, and I had the consistency of stance, and I held it through the whole time. But I think that it was an organizational process more than anything, because we wouldn't have been on the final doorsteps if everyone wasn't in like-minded fashion. Really excited to get that contract finalized so we can move forward and focus on the team, which will be the only thing. No contract. No one's going to care about those things in December. And I think our players who are receiving contracts understand that, which is why we're focused on what we will look like in December.
Did you put in a good word to kind of get the deal across the goal line?
I mean, I'm an exuberant guy that really stands behind his beliefs. I don't think they needed to hear me say the same thing over and over, but I probably said the same thing over and over. Like I said, there's a lot of people that were working on that deal that should get high fives, and you can just give me a nod because that's I'm not the I'm. Let's just say I was very excited for it to be done, and I was very excited to stop fielding questions like these because I'm only thinking about the team. Oh wait, I'm still answering them. No, it's all good. Have a good one, guys.